What's up guys, Adam here with AmericanTrucks.com. Today we're taking a closer look at installing and dynoing the Roush Performance Power Pack Level 1, available for the 15 to 17 3.5 liter EcoBoost F150. You should be taking a look at this power pack if you're looking for pretty straightforward, simple bolt-on mods that make pretty impressive power gains right out of the box. Now the Roush kit here does come with a Roush voucher code, so you can flash it right at home on your laptop if you have a J2534 interface tool or a device to plug into your OBD2. You can pick that up at your local auto parts store or take it right to the dealer and have them take care of it. So we strapped down our 2017 3.5 liter EcoBoost F150 to the dyno to establish a baseline or stock run on 87 octane in the tank. We came up with 298 horsepower and 351 foot-pounds of torque at the rear wheels. So then we obviously installed our Roush cold air intake and tuned it to the Roush voucher with the Roush diagnostic tool, strapped it back down to the dyno on the same octane level to see what we would make, and we came out with 352 horsepower and 386 foot-pounds of torque at the rear wheels. Now our curve gains here are 114 horsepower and 103 foot-pounds of torque. If you're looking for that simple bolt-on, this is a really good way to go for some horsepower and torque. Now this one comes in at around $750, and if you wanted to take it a step farther to see even bigger gains, maybe even get some sound out of your EcoBoost, which let's be honest, we all know it could use, you can upgrade to the Roush Power Pack Level 2 and get the Roush Catback included with those two mods I just mentioned. Now this one's gonna come with a washable and reusable dry filter, so no need to re-oil it, but also no need to pick up a new filter every couple of thousand miles during routine maintenance. That filter has cotton gauze, double layer wire mesh internally and externally, so it's doing a really good job of filtering out the particles you don't want and pulling in all the cold air that you do want. It also seals pretty good with the inside of your hood, keeping that engine heat out and the cold air in. It's also got polyethylene lightweight tubing. It's going to transfer over your factory sensor to the new tubing, has harness extensions. I'll walk you through all of that process in just a second. That install, by the way, is going to get 1 out of 3 wrenches on our difficulty meter. You can expect to get it done in, I'd say, about an hour, hour and a half, including the time it takes to actually flash the vehicle. Now, like I mentioned in the beginning, you do want to have that J2534 interface tool or diagnostic tool. You can pick that up separately as it is not included in the kit. Once you do have one, all you'll need is your PCM code and a laptop to get the job done. First couple of steps on our uninstall, we'll use our flathead screwdriver. An 8mm socket and ratchet would do the trick as well. And we're going to loosen up the 3 clamps holding on the tubing from our factory intake. 2 of them are right up top here. The third one is a little bit farther down toward the turbo. And the head of that clamp is going to be on the inside, so it'll be a little bit harder to reach, but it's still possible and still doable. So I got my flathead here. I'm going to loosen those clamps up, and then we'll remove the sensor. All right, with the 3 clamps loosened up here, we can just pop off that temperature sensor. That'll snap right off with just a simple pinch. At this point, we can remove this portion of the tubing. At this point, I'm going to use my panel removal tool. A flathead screwdriver can do the trick as well, and we're going to remove these 2 plunger-style push pin clips holding on our inlet to our factory radiator shroud. We're going to slide the prong over top, pull that one up. That's one portion. Do the same thing for the bottom and it comes off in one piece. So the plunger first, then the bottom. Now this is loose and good to go. All right, now we got our 13mm socket and our ratchet. We're gonna remove this bolt holding on our factory airbox to the side of our engine bay. You can just break this loose and remove it all in one piece. All right, before we can remove these, there's a couple of yellow clips holding on a wiring harness. You can pull straight up on those and they will come out. With that wiring harness removed, you can just lift straight up on the air inlet and your other hand on the other side of the airbox. Pop that right out of position and set it aside. So we finally got our factory intake off of our 3.5 EcoBoost F150 and on the table here next to our Roush Power Pack Level 1 cold air intake. Now, as you can see, there's just pretty much differences in every aspect of the cold air intake compared to the stock airbox. The biggest difference being the comparison between our new cotton gauze filter and our factory paper element filter. Now this thing does an okay job from the factory, but if you're looking to really streamline your airflow coming into your intake, this is the way to go. This is a reusable and washable cold air intake filter that's made with cotton gauze layers with a double layer mesh filter on the inside and the outside to make sure it's filtering out all that nasty stuff you don't want getting into your engine. The rest of it is going to be made from a really lightweight polyethylene material. This has a textured black finish on it, looks a little nice under the hood, gives it a stealthy finish, and it blends in really well with everything else you got going on. Now your heat shield here will come with an EPDM foam seal built in to make sure it's completely enclosing your filter, keeping out that engine heat and keeping your cold air in. That's going to really help to streamline that cold air process. Getting this installed is pretty straightforward. I'm going to show you how to do that, then we're going to flash your truck and see what kind of power it makes. We do have to transfer over the factory temp sensor from the stock tubing over to our new Roush tubing. All you have to do here is twist it out of place. All right, you're going to take that and put it into our new tubing here. Just line up those shapes on the inside. Press it into place, twist it to lock it. Now since this is being relocated, we're going to use our sensor harness extension here. That'll plug in to the factory end in the vehicle, and this will extend all the way over to the temp sensor. All right, next up, we're gonna have to transfer over our factory inlet duct. We're gonna take our 8mm socket. I'm using a cordless impact. A ratchet can also do the trick. We're gonna remove this bolt here, transfer over the duct to our new one, and reuse that factory bolt. There we go. First step of the install here, we're going to drop our air box and factory air inlet duct assembly back into the truck. There are snap down points that'll actually hold this into place here. Then we're going to replace our push pin clips on top of our radiator shroud. So the next step here is to take our filter assembly with the tubing. We've got our appropriate clamp tightened down a little bit here. We're going to slide that through the inside of the air box. We're going to rotate it so that the pre-drilled holes on the tubing here line up with the threaded holes on the factory heat shield. Once we have this bolted down, we'll make sure our sensor gets put in position. We've got our hardware provided by Roush. I'm going to thread that through by hand and then use our 10mm socket and extension to tighten them down. All right, we're going to take our factory temp sensor and put that into the pre-drilled hole on the new tubing. Once we have it in place there, we can just twist it to lock it. Now we have a temperature harness extension that'll go onto this side and actually extend that factory harness over to the new position on our cold air intake. All right, at this point, we can install our new textured black tubing from the Roush intake kit. You want to make sure you're assembling the couplers into their appropriate locations. The rippled one goes right next to the air filter. Then you'll have, again, a larger one for the larger intake tubing and a smaller one for the smaller tubing. Now, you want to make sure you're assembling them before you install them into the vehicle with these clamps. Just tighten them down nice and snug to make sure they're not moving around. That's what we have done here. We're going to be able to pop them onto the tubing, then tighten down all 6 of these clamps. Now we can go back and tighten all these down. We can take our sensor harness extension and plug that into the factory harness. Now this one we can feed underneath so that it's not getting tangled up at the top, and plug that into our temperature sensor. All right, last step of the install here is going to be this weather stripping, and it conveniently has these push pin clips that'll go right around the edge of our heat shield here. I'm going to start back here, and they will literally just snap into place. You can just feed this along the edges. It's pretty self-explanatory. So with that excess, you could just cut it off. I'm going to leave it here just because once the hood shuts, it'll actually just seal against the top of the hood, so it's not going to be a problem there. Now that that was the last step of the install here, we can actually get to flashing our truck with our Roush voucher. At this point, we're actually going to use our Roush voucher to actually flash our PCM using the Roush diagnostic tool on our laptop. Now you are going to need your own J2534 module device to plug into your OBD2 port. We have our own here. You can pick one up at your auto parts store. You can order one online. There's a number of different ways to go that route. We've got ours plugged in already. It's reading our VIN. We're in the Roush diagnostic tool program. All we have to do now is go into the module programming tab. We're going to input our PCM code or our tear tag code. You can find yours either using an X4 device device if you have your own handheld tuner, or you can go under the hood and actually pull the PCM out of the vehicle and read it on the top of the sticker. That's what we did. We've got our code ready to input, so I'm gonna put that information in. I'm gonna input our voucher code and our voucher family code. We'll be able to actually flash this thing. We're gonna go into module programming. We got our voucher code and our voucher family code input. We're gonna redeem that. So redemption successful, flash is enabled. We're gonna hit OK to move forward. All right, from here we're gonna hit flash, or little flash button down here. That should take us into moving forward. Yes. All right, make sure your ignition is on at this point. All right, at this point the flash is complete and we're good to go. That's gonna wrap up my review, install, and dyno run of the Roush Performance Power Pack Level 1 for the 15 to 17 3.5 liter EcoBoost F150. If you're looking for a simple cold air intake bolt-on that does a really good job of streamlining your airflow into your intake manifold and turbo, this is a really good way to go, and it comes with the tune from Roush to make sure you're picking up some pretty serious gains. As you saw before, we're looking at 50 plus horsepower, 30 plus foot-pounds of torque, and over 114 horsepower under the curve and 103 foot-pounds of torque at the rear wheels under that curve. Pretty impressive gains with a very simple kit here. You can pick yours up for your 3.5 right here at AmericanTrucks.com.